Hi there. So today I want to talk to you about the show MasterChef. Now, before I do, I have to say that I actually love watching this show. I think it's very entertaining. And also, I love Gordon Ramsay. He's like one of my favorite people of all time. But I'm not here to talk about how entertaining this show is. I'm here to talk about how I believe that, as a competition, this show is fundamentally broken. Hopefully I can explain myself properly. So, in case you don't know, the way this show works is they take a bunch of home cooks and they put them in the MasterChef kitchen and they do a bunch of cooking competitions, and then the three judges slowly vote people off until it finally comes down to the last two people, where they have a big finale, and the last two contestants cook a 3-course meal and they get judged on all three of them. There's an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert, and they win a trophy and money and all this stuff. They become the next MasterChef. Now, the finale is where I think that things go from being reality to being pre-written in order to make the finale more interesting and make it look like a close call. So what I mean by that is, if you watch the finale of any of the seasons of this show, there's 10 seasons now, if you watch any finale, the last episode always follows the same pattern. There's 2 cooks left over. Again, they cook an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. And the judges give their feedback in between each meal, and then the contestants go back and cook the next meal and present it again until the last one, where they announce the winner of the competition. But I've noticed that every single time, every single finale, there's a pattern. First, the appetizers, the judges always pick and basically tell the contestants who had the better appetizer. Then the entree comes, and it's always the other contestant who has the better entree. And it has to be, because if one of the contestants clearly wins the first 2 things, there's no way the other person can come back. It's already going to be at least 2-1, and the competition would be over. But they want to have this big reveal celebration at the end and have this tension. So never in the history of the show has it ever gone one person winning the first round and then winning the second round as well. What are the chances of that? What are the chances that there's never been a situation where the same person has cooked a better dish twice in a row and just swept the competition at the end and won it? I am convinced that regardless of who cooks the better dishes, they will always say that it's a tie going into the last dish. And there's no way that that would actually happen in real life every single time. Maybe they already know who's the winner. Maybe the first dish is clearly better, and then the second dish is also better, but they don't want to say it necessarily because then the show would be over at that point. So they just lie and say the other person was better, and then they just give it to the last person in the end, just to make it more fun to watch. But here's the problem with that. What would happen if contestant B on the right had a better dish in the beginning, and then the second round, they also had the better dish, but they thought, well, we can't give him 2 wins in a row, because then the show would be over, there'd be no finale. So let's just say that contestant A on the left has the better dish for now, and then we'll obviously give the win to the contestant on the right, because technically they've already won the first 2 rounds in our minds, but we can't say that right now, like I said, because it would ruin the suspense of the finale. But then what would happen if then it was tied to the audience, and then during the last round, during the dessert round, the person on the left served an amazing dessert, and the person on the right served a literal piece of poo on a plate? What do they do now? They've already told the audience that the first 2 were a tie, and now it's very clear that the person on the left should be winning the third round and then winning the whole competition, as it's 2-1. But they can't backtrack now. Obviously, I'm joking with the poo, but hopefully you can see what I'm saying. If they serve a clearly terrible dessert, how do they go back from that? So all I'm getting at is that I feel like they aren't always totally honest, and they manipulate things a little bit just for the sake of the writing of the show to have a good finale. Now, none of this is more clear than the absolute stupidity of season 9. So season 9 changed things up a little bit, and rather than just having a bunch of cooks come in and the judges judging them equally, they did this stupid thing where the 3 judges chose their own teams of cooks. So there was 3 teams of cooks, but then all the cooks still went against each other anyways. I guess the point of the show was that they wanted to see in the end which judge chose the winner, so that then the judge kind of wins too. The problem with that is that I already know how this show is written. And when they first announced they were doing that, I said out loud, I remember, wait and see. I guarantee you the last 3 people in the competition will be one of each of the judges' choices. It's going to obviously come down to one of Joe's people, one of Aaron's people, and one of Gordon Ramsay's people. They're not going to finish the finale with like 3 Gordon Ramsay people or 2 Joe people and 1 Gordon Ramsay person, and then Aaron just sits on the sideline and watches everyone else cook. They're going to set it up this way. But then that causes another problem. When it comes down to the last 4 cooks, there's going to be guaranteed 2 cooks from one judge left and 1 cook from the other 2 judges. Now, the problem with this is that because they're going to obviously want to have one of each contestant from each judge left over, when it comes down to eliminating one of these 4 people, it's going to be guaranteed to be one of the 2 people that are left over from the same judge. And guess what happened? Exactly what I said. It came down to 2 of Joe's people, 1 of Gordon Ramsay's people, and 1 of Iran's people. And I remember saying to myself, the Iran person and the Gordon person are definitely safe from elimination. It's going to be guaranteed that 1 of Joe's 2 people goes home. And that's exactly what happened. It wouldn't have mattered what Gordon's person cooked or Iran's person cooked. There's no way they were going to go into the finale without each one of the judges' cooks going head to head. So what's the point in even doing this? It's not even a real competition. How is it fair that these last 2 Iran and Gordon people are guaranteed safe for the finale just because of the writing of the show? How is that a real competition? It's stupid and I don't like it, and it just makes the show feel like they're not actually looking at the food as much as they are looking at the ratings and the writing of the show and trying to get people hyped for the finale. Anyways, that's all I have to say about MasterChef. I still think it's a really fun show to watch. I just wish that they were a little bit more honest with how they do things, and if you think I'm wrong, just wait and see. Just watch the next season of MasterChef or go back and watch them. Watch the finales. And if you can point out one situation where the finale didn't come down to the final dish, then I guess I'm wrong and I'll just be quiet. Now, I will say there was one season of MasterChef Canada where one of the contestants at the end clearly won every single finale dish. And it was very clear that he was going to win the competition. And it definitely did take away from the excitement of the reveal at the end. So I guess I can see why they're doing it when they want that tension to build up and make the show more fun to watch. But I appreciated how real the show was, because then it feels like an actual competition and not some pre-written thing. Before I go, I should also mention that I am holding my own MasterChef competition for all of my Patreon supporters, and the top prize if you win is you get 1 full day out of my basement. So if you'd like to compete for that, the link to my Patreon is in the description. But that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video.